Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of people still popping in, so I'm just going to give it a minute or two to see if we get any more. I shared a link to the agenda in the chat. If you were here when I shared it, you should be able to click on that. Otherwise, it should be in the email that you got. I can reshare it in a few minutes too. If you want to add your name to the attendees, add any topics you want to talk about down below the attendees list. Right now, we've mostly got a bug on there. I don't have any demos or anything planned, so I'm hoping we have lots of questions. And if we don't have much to talk about, I'm thinking we can talk a bit about the next upgrade that's coming in a couple months. So. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. The agenda should be available. If you want to go ahead and add your name to the attendees list, add anything you want to talk about in the topics, otherwise we can bring them up as we go. The first thing that I have on the agenda is just general announcements. The only thing I have right now is that our next meeting is March 10th next month. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to remind the group, announce to the group? Okay.
The Koha Forum
Oh
um,
yeah.
on the 24th.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has a link to that, but we're there a bug squashing event and a forum with the developers of Koha is all coming up this month. Would be a really great thing to get in on. Thank you, Jason. He's got the link there. The forum's going to be on Tuesday, February 24th, so we've got a couple of weeks. It's from the koha-US Education Committee, and they've got a link to fill out a survey and ask questions. So that would be an excellent spot to take anything that we haven't been able to answer here and see if they've got any suggestions over there. And if you ever wanted to know more about how bugs get taken care of, how they get QA'd, how they get signed off, that whole week there's all kinds of related events about bugs. So I would probably jump on. There's a couple of them that would be really helpful. Like if you want to set up a dev box, they're doing that on the 24th. They suggest you come to the baby SIG meeting the week before. Um, there's other drop-in sessions. Jason, did you want to mention anything about it?
Yeah, just what you said. If you're interested in setting up a dev box, Baby Devs is this Thursday. Is that right?
Is it this
Y
Thursday?
yeah, it's this Thursday. So, like, if you want help getting that set up ahead of time, please join us at the Baby Devs SIG.
Oh, I have a holiday that day, so I can totally come.
Let me add those links. Okay. Well, I think the first thing we have on the agenda is a bug from you, Jason. Did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, this is one oh, the Baby Devs SIG is noon central, whatever that works out, shakes out to be in your time zone. Um, yeah. So we have an ongoing problem with uh, cover images not showing if they have a 979 barcode. And it looks like there was work done on this, but I think I failed QA on it because it wasn't doing what it was supposed to. I just wondered what other people are doing, if you're working around that, if you're ignoring the problem. Um, like I am because I don't have a solution. I did notice that it seems to be working better in Aspen than it does in Koha. It looks like Aspen can at least get the cover images from Google with the 979 ISBN. So I thought about putting that on the bug, being like, hey, Aspen figured out. Can we get that into Koha? But yeah, do you pay for services? I know Syndetics does cover images, but we've never paid for cover images. So I just wondered what other people were doing.
We were using the Baker and Taylor service for the cover images, and we're still getting cover images. They're still working, so I'm not quite understanding what's going on with Contact Cafe. We're still being able to use it, but we are looking into getting Syndetics and eventually maybe or an alternative. But we were seeing a similar thing with the 979s, but Aspen, the two examples you had, I pulled them up in Aspen and they looked fine.
So Juliet, we had this discussion with the people of, we actually saw that we were still getting Content Cafe cover images and stuff. So we got an email from one of their former employees, and now it's a new company that's taken over all of Content Cafe's employees, and they're going to send you a contract soon. We told them we don't want it anymore, and we're on Syndetics right now. So I would contact whoever your I don't think
I think so there's someone else in the consortium who has been working on this, and I just haven't heard from him, but I think he's kind of in contact with them. So we've just kind of been skating until we have to change.
yeah. Yeah, we just didn't want to pay for two services at the same time, two similar services. But yeah, they'll reach out to you if anything.
But I do remember him mentioning something about the 979. So everybody else in our consortium just uses the regular OPAC, and we're the only ones on Aspen. And so I just let them deal with this.
They're called Library One.
Hmm,
They're just a
that's good to know. Huh. Well, anybody else have a topic for discussion? Anything that you need help on with questions or troubleshooting or a bug that you're interested in or want to share?
I don't know if this is the correct place. I think this might be an acquisition SIG question, but I'm looking for even more people to discuss Backstage. If anybody has Backstage for their authority file updates and stuff like that. If anybody uses Backstage, I'd like to compare workflows. Um, but yeah, I think that might be an acquisitions thing.
No?
Yes.
Oh, you're cutting out, Danielle.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay.
No.
Okay. My question is just around notices, HTML for notices. Some of them seem to work really well, and then some of them don't. And I just wondered if you guys have had kind of any experience with that. I was reading in the wiki, um, for, say, example, ODU notices. If you go to that section in the wiki, actually, I'll just put this link. Yeah.
So it gives you kind of like a template and everything, and then in the type it says email HTML false. I was wondering if that is telling me that those kind of notices cannot use HTML, um, or if that's just telling me that this exact template doesn't use HTML. I am just having trouble because it seems like when we do the HTML, it's working fine. We overdue 1 and overdue 2 have HTML. They're going out great. They look awesome. The third overdue notice, the HTML fails and it's just garbled. Similar for our auto renewal notice, it just fails. And I just can't figure out why some work and some don't. And I don't know if this is related to that false statement at all.
I think what it's saying is that the default doesn't use HTML. Because we have overdue notices, we use HTML in them, and they're working all right. The one thing I'm seeing is that, like, if you put an image in it, Outlook doesn't handle images very well. It'll just, like, if you put a really big image and then you tell HTML to use CSS to, like, resize it, Outlook will just show the whole giant image. But other than that, it seems to be working. I was gonna see if I had put any of my notices in the library, but I don't. I don't think I did.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see like anybody's overdue, like the final overdue notice. It's just crazy because, we basically are just copying the first and the second, but changing some of it for like it's 30 days instead of 7 or 14. So there's really no reason why it shouldn't work, but it just doesn't work. And same with the auto renewal. Um, I just can't figure out what's going on. And when we put them in, then it defaults to the all libraries one. It just like won't use our HTML one. Maybe it's just something I'm gonna have to dig deeper on, but I thought I'd see if anybody else had that experience. Sounds like not really.
A couple of troubleshooting steps I would do is once you save your notice in
Mhm.
there, make sure you go back in and open that exact same notice again. Because if there's an error when you save it, it doesn't tell you, but once you open it up again, there will be a little line at the top that says there was some sort of error at line blah, blah, blah. And if it has that error, a lot of times it just won't even send the notice, or you'll get a 500 if you're trying to print a slip. The other thing to make sure that you're doing is if you are using HTML, make sure that HTML message checkbox is checked. Sometimes it's easy to forget to check that if you weren't using it before. I like to take the HTML that I have and open like a HTML editor in like W3 Schools or something and just paste it in there and see if it looks close to what I want it to look like, or that it like, because that sometimes catches where you didn't close a selector or something. Um, and so there's just like it could be that somewhere you're missing an end tag or things like that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely will just recheck that. That sounds probably like what it is. It must be our HTML. But just now that it happened twice, I was like, well, maybe there's something I'm missing. Thank you.
You're more than welcome to have mine. I'm just gonna put mine in the chat. But that's basically what we use. And we haven't gotten any complaints so far. I don't know if, oh, and here's the Spanish version too. Um, yeah, I haven't gotten any complaints from patrons about this. They've been receiving them, I know that. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you'd
thank
like to
you.
start that, yeah. No
Yeah.
worries.
It is nice to see what other people do because like I don't know, the auto renewal one just looks terrible to me, like the regular one. And we were just trying to make it a little clearer, like this has been renewed. These not. Just right now it just feels like a wall of words.
I can I could probably send you some of mine, Danielle, that I've got. I'll try to put them on the wiki eventually, but um I should probably have your email unless you I could message you in the Slack or you're in the Slack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I can get you through there.
That would be awesome. I just like to see people how people change them too. So anybody else wants to message me their notices if they like them, let me see because
Sure.
I'm interested.
Raina says you can test the overdues by copying the notice content into an overdue slip notice, which is easy to generate to check what the notice will look like. Because, yeah, that pulls the same overdue information. I like to do that as well, especially in my test environment.
That is really good to know too. I hadn't thought of doing that because testing these notices is kind of it's tricky.
Mhm. Yeah, and George says anybody can add to the wiki at the library. It would be great. There is even there's a terrific training video on how to add things to the wiki, which I followed that. It was really helpful. Yeah, I think Heather did it with you.
Oh, I remember that now. Okay.
The notice, I was just working on a notice. Now I'm trying to remember which one I was working on. Oh, our hold slip. We had it in a table, an HTML table, and then we were transforming it to turn it sideways. And I took it out of a table and put it in a flex box just because I learned how to do that last semester in school and I wanted to try it. And it was really fun. And then I also found that there's a way to truncate your information with Template Toolkit. And so, like, we want to cut off everything but the first letter of somebody's first name. And so you put in borrowers dot first name and then a slash, and then you tell it to truncate how many letters that you want. And so that was something I was playing around yesterday, and I was so excited when I managed to get it. Let me see if I can find it here. That's another thing that's really confusing is like the hold slip. You put the content in the email box, not the print box. That threw me off for a while.
That throws everybody off, and there is a bug about that in Bugzilla.
And my notice is way too big to add to the chat. So let me see if I can just add the part where I did the truncating. And the other thing I found is that if you want to cut off the end, you use truncate, but if you want to cut off the beginning, then you would use something that's a .substr, so it's a substring, and then you just tell it how much of the string you want and how much to cut off. I think it's the other way, cut off and then how much you want. And then they added something in a recent update where you can be more specific in the dates by using that .strf time. And so I just wanted it to show the month and the day. And that is something, it was a recent bug that they implemented that is slightly explained in the wiki, but it's a good one to play around. You just have to know what the like %M things that are available for saying what the dates are. If that makes sense to anyone. Wonder where that bug was. I'm going to post the bug that explains the time thing. It looks like it just went live in 2505. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions about notices? Things people want to share?
So I've been working on notices too. Our final notice too. We have to send it as a print notice under our state statute, and I keep losing it. It goes to the wrong email address for some reason at one of our libraries. And this might just be our mess on our end, but has anybody else had that where does it go to the home library of the user, or is it going to the library that checked out the item?
I think it goes to the email address in the library record for the library where the transaction occurred, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's
Okay.
going to go to the address that's in the library record in Koha.
Elizabeth, we have a long standing ticket with Bywater on this issue. It's basically been with us since we migrated back in March because we're a consortium and everybody gets everybody else's final overdues. And
Yeah.
so, and they can't, we've troubleshooted. I mean, they've worked hard to try to figure out what is going on and why it happens, but I don't think we've really made any progress at all. Um, the workaround that I'm doing is I have a report of notices that are, sorry, someone's backing me. Um, I have a report that sends me the notices. So I have them there. So our person who prints them, she just runs that report to see, make sure she gets everything. That's that's our only workaround that we have.
Okay. Our current workaround is the librarians are running a report to find out what notices should go out and then creating their own notices to send out. And
Yeah, that sounds similar to what we
yeah,
do too.
okay.
All of our notices at RCLS, they were getting emailed, but we asked them to stop, and they are no longer emailed because it was, like you said, a headache for a bunch of libraries to get a bunch of different notices. But ours are all dumped into access files, and we can basically just grab them as we want them. I don't know if I can share my screen. I guess I can. Yeah. All right. So in access files, you'll see the notice, you'll see the overdue number and the branch it belongs to, and we can just pull them as we want them and as we need them, which is probably easier than managing a bunch of different inboxes. I don't know how that was set up. That kind of came to us at migration, but it is a possibility. We might want to mention that.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Bywater and see if there's any way that they can do something like that. That might be a better option.
Right. That way they all live in one place and you can grab them as you need them.
We've always used Patron Point for our email notices, and there, when it came to the print notices, I basically don't use KOA's notice system at all, which is turning into be a problem at the moment. But I've been playing around with, I've always used a report that we've run through Crystal reports, which we've had and used for years to do a trifold, Z-fold mailer. But I've been playing around with the new report template notices that you can use a notice template to run a report through and then lay it out again. I'm not quite finished where I was going with it, but if you're already getting the information through a report, you could create a notice template that then creates the notices for you if you're not worrying about the notice system generating the notice itself. If you've played around with that, I can probably screen share, I suppose. See if I can find one. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Looks like that one. Go to my words real quick. Fortunately, there's going to be some patron information. Maybe I should clean that up first. I'll take that out. Hopefully it still works with the missing fields. It might break it. We'll find out. So if the holes were filled yesterday, and then you go to run with template, and I have notices pickups. Yeah, it's a little bit, you can see there's a notice. Not a name. Yeah, it's blank. We're good. And then rendered notice, open in Firefox, which I don't think you'll be able to see the Firefox, but they didn't share it that way. But you would see the full notice all laid out page by page, and you actually put those in. Shrink that out of the way. You can see you go to and I have somewhere. Let me do it this way. My notice template. Which has just your standard HTML and CSS pulling in information from the report itself, the report fields. And I think others have done better demos of how this works than I would do. So it's using both the notice template and a report to generate something you can print. That's kind of handy. I don't know if I'll ever actually finish this, but it's been a fun experiment. See if I could make it happen. And I'm close, but I'm not all the way there, but I'm close. So if you're already generating your notices by report, you might look into this as a way that your branch staff could just run the report and then run it through a notice template to have their printed version instead of doing their own. Gives you a way to control it a little better. That was something I discovered, that they were doing their own damaged item reports. And when they are not reports, but damage item notices, is, hey, you brought this back and it's soaking wet, so we're going to bill you for it. And every branch manager was typing up their own letter. I'm like, I could probably do that for you and save them all a whole lot of time. And they didn't even know they were doing it that way. And so that's how doing it through reports to get these notices out in a very strict format, and it's all centralized.
Sorry, I got distracted. Did you say you do it for damaged items?
Yeah, I do it based on a bill.
How do you?
Let me share. I think I shared just this application, so let me share. Well, it'll show you stuff too again. Basically, I've got the staff creating their bill. When they're billing someone, I called it a damaged item with letter specifically, so they know that this is a major bill that we're actually going to send in. We're going to send the patron something that says you owe us $25. And in the report, I make sure that the bill hasn't already been paid. So I'm looking through account lines for that specific debit type. And then it does line by line by, column by column, all the distinct pieces of information. And right now I still have it in Crystal reports. I haven't tried to do the notice template on that one yet, but it could be done, I'm sure, if you wanted to lay that out in your notice template and run it through the report that way too. I'm hesitating to show you because it'll have personal information in it.
Yeah.
But
I'm just trying to think how we would do that. Because I've been wanting to make them a damaged letter that they could just click print on.
We centralize all. We have 19 buildings, but it's one library, so all the printing notices is all centralized in my office. So I just run one report and have all of them in one place. So I think if you're breaking it out individually, I'm sure you could still do it if you were creating that report template and running it through there. Create a table as your invoice section. And
so what is your report? It's pulling the charge from the patron account?
It's looking in account lines. and then
Okay.
join to the borrower record and the item record. And the one thing that I have to every now and then call a branch manager and say is to, and it's actually not about the notice, but when you make a damaged item bill, the item has been damaged badly enough that we're pulling it from the collection, and it doesn't save. It links to the item record. And as soon as you delete the item record, you don't have any more information in the bill that says what was damaged. It's just unless they made a note somewhere. So I have to remind them to put that in a specific field to remind them that the description needs to include the name and barcode of the item that was damaged, because I'm going to delete the thing. It's damaged. We don't want it anymore. We're withdrawing it. So let me look at my. So I've got the daily invoices here. And again, I can take out the name stuff here.
I'm more interested in what your report is doing.
Yeah, well, that's what, let me scroll up a little more. It's not doing a lot. It's just, this is me cleaning up some stuff and removing damaged item with letter multiple times to get rid of it. And then it's just pulling from the account lines, borrowers, items. The P codes, we don't want them going to. I could probably do that more easily. It's been a while since I set this up.
Yeah. Could say not in.
Not in, yeah. I clean up make it look like a dollar amount, cast as
Cool.
date format. So just, it's not a notice technically as far as KOA is concerned, but it does pull the information we need, and we can send out a nicely formatted letter in batch as opposed to 18 individual branch managers typing up their own letters.
Yeah.
And we got one complaint from someone who did not appreciate the tone of the letter that it damaged a thing. And so my director asked for it. I said, it's right here. And she never said another word. She read it and it was fine. But people do like to complain.
I feel like I was talking with Steven at Ocean State about about adding, when you add a note, or when you charge somebody for like a lost item or something like that in their account, and then you delete the item, that connection disappears. And I'm pretty sure he has a bug filed about that, but I can't remember what it was. And that, I think, was more if it was like a lost item charge. I don't know about like we manually add our damaged fees. And so I'm
Right, we
not
do
sure.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
But so it was the same problem with not long after we migrated, which is about 3 years ago now, they added the ability to change how the bill description was created for overdue notices, where you could, because it was the same problem with overdues. As soon as that you get an overdue fine, and then a few years later the item is weeded, now you don't know what the overdue fine was for. So I think it was a similar problem. So they adjusted that so you could say, I want my description, I think, for the overdue notice to always include the title of the book and the barcode separate
Yeah.
from the link. But I've never
Yeah.
heard, and it sounded like that was going to be an ongoing thing, but I've never heard that they've extended that to anything but the overdue bills.
Yeah, because the damaged, like if you
It's
manually
the same
add a
problem,
damage charge, it lets you put in the barcode,
right?
but then if it gets
It's
deleted,
not real. Right. And that's why I tell all the staff who are creating these bills, don't forget to enter that information, not just in the barcode field, because it's damaged where we're drawing it.
yeah.
And it's, in a month it's going to be gone. And someone will come in and you won't be able to tell them why you billed them or what it
Yeah.
was for. So
We take our letter that we generate and we either email it to the patron or we mail it. And then we take a copy of it and upload it in the patron files so
yeah,
that a staff member can pull up that letter if they need to. And then we delete it after they pay for it or take care of it.
we haven't we thought about using the patron files for a variety of things where people deny that they ever received something, or or that's not me when they're signing up for their second or third or fourth library card. and they already owe money for older library cards and they just want to keep getting new ones. But we haven't actually taken it on yet.
One thing I've started doing is that new function where you can email a patron from the messages on their account. I have staff copy the letter into that, and so then it's in their notices later
That's
if
true.
they want. So that's
Oh,
another
it goes from the
option.
messages, it goes into notices.
Yeah, if you use that messages to send an email to the patron, it saves that in their patron notices with the rest of the notices that are sent to them.
I actually hid that from our staff too. I'll be honest, I don't trust my staff.
Oh, I can see why you would want to hide that because it has a lot of information that
Just being able to just randomly email people, like just from their account.
Yeah.
I don't think I want my staff doing that. And same with the OPAC notices. Both of those are hidden messages. They're the only one they can add are the staff notices, staff messages, I should say. If you know how to do it, if you know how to, no one's going to do it by accident. Let me put it that way. If you know how to look for it, you can find it and turn it back on again because it's just hidden by CSS, display none. But we would know for sure that someone was deliberately looking for it if it actually happened. So.
I had a question for Sally. We're implementing Patron Point, and I think you mentioned at the beginning of all of this that you're having some issues, and I was curious if you could expand on that.
It's the issues we're having is on one hand it's a good thing that, and you're joining at the right point because we started using about 3 years ago and there's no plugin. It was just they used the API and they plucked the information out of the system and sent the notice. And so we weren't using koha's notice system at all. Like I said, I was printing them from reports for the print notices. The email ones were being pulled from API, and that was fine for the most part. It does create a few problems otherwise, but Bywater and Patron Point, they've worked together to create a plugin like the unique message bee system, so that you actually will be using the notices, and it's the converting from what we've been doing to what we're going to need to do and actually using the notice system that's giving me headaches. So right now, the rule on whether someone gets a notice by email or not, we don't use the enhanced messaging preferences. I don't, there's, we'll have the notification method, primary, email, print, whatever, that little field. We don't use any of that. It's basically if we have your email address, you're getting your notices by email. If we don't have your email address, we'll print your pickup notice and everybody gets a 2-week overdue notice on paper because you've already ignored all the others. So yeah. So we're working through the migration, and Patron Points plugin is brand new, and I know Bywater's not ready. I think yesterday I got email from Andrew, who's been working on it with Patron Point and me figuring out how we're going to make this transition and test it and figure out how to work with it.
Okay.
For the most part, we've been happy with Patron Point. Less happy with them since they became part of SpringShare, but that's a SpringShare thing, not a Patron Point thing.
I have another question on notices. So we get a lot of complaints from patrons that they receive too many notices. So is everybody sending a pre-due, or what are you sending? We're sending and this is in Koha still, we're sending a pre-due, a due, and an auto renew. And it can cause confusion because it's like these things we do in a couple days, and then these things are due, and then maybe something happens between when they're due and when the auto renew happens. And so then the auto renew, I guess, doesn't include something that they thought would renew anyway. What are people doing as far as, are they sending all of those notices, or are you having any issues?
Well, we do send pre-due, auto renewal, 7-day overdue, all by email, and we've not had complaints of too many notices. But we have a really, really great graphic artist on staff who designed the notices that go out in Patron Point, and they're very colorful and they have different colors. So there's like a red one that's overdue, the green one is an auto renew, or the yellow is the reminder notice. So I think they're all distinct enough with all the graphics that she's done to help visually, and the messaging, we worked pretty hard on the messaging. So, it doesn't seem to be too many.
Are you sending both a pre-due and a due on the day that it's due?
No, we send what is it? We do the auto renewal at 4 days. We do the pre-due at 3 days for anything that didn't auto renew. And then 7-day overdue.
So the auto renew comes first.
Yeah. Yep.
That way, if it auto,
that's why it's 2 distinct messages. There's the auto renew at 4 days. And if it's auto renewed, it's not due in 3 days. So they don't ever get that one until the auto renews are all done up or they're a hold or something.
I might have to email you directly and see if I can understand that better.
Sure.
Anyway, thank you.
There was a couple comments in the chat from George saying what he does for due, overdue. And then Daniel says we auto renew 1 day before the due date so patrons don't get both the auto renew and item due. I know we don't by default have them get the due one. We do advance notice one day before, and then we have the overdue at day after it's due, I believe, and then 15 days and then 30 days. And then our auto renew is also set, I think, to trigger the day before. And so instead of doing 14 days, we do 15 days just to even it out.
I think we might have had a complaint about having too many notices as well. So that's why we got rid of the auto renewal notice altogether. We just don't send that out anymore.
That one can really get weird if you don't have the logic right and end up sending people stuff a lot more than what they want, especially the digest. I think we've got ours dialed in, but I could see why people would want to turn it off. Do most of you use your third overdue notice as like your billing to the patron? Because that's what we do. Sounds like it.
We have our third notice goes on day 45, and on day 46, the day 45 notice says this item is going to be declared lost and you are going to be billed for it. And then the next day it's marked as lost.
Do you use the long overdue cron to mark it as lost, or do you guys manually do that?
We use the cron because we have we have 44 libraries with 50 locations, so there's no way. The issue with us, we actually sponsored development to the long overdue cron to let it skip certain things, because we couldn't do that with our school district patrons. We couldn't block them we couldn't automatically bill them. And there was another category of patron that this is a long time ago because it was a development that was in progress when I started working here 9 years ago. So there is a way to set the long overdue cron so that it can skip specific borrower categories. So you can say all of the adults, all of the children, all of these people will be billed automatically and then skip these other categories, which I think we have our school district categories, our school district patron categories, and some staff and ILL patron categories aren't automatic, but the others are. So
Could you set up like like a cron that would do 30 days for Rapid City and then another one that would do 45 for Spearfish or something like that? Or
That I don't know.
okay, I think that's why we haven't ever used it.
What we told our member, so the issue that we had is we had the same issue we always have with the bigger libraries where they have enough staff that can manage that stuff, that can manage the billing process. We're taking care of their long overdue items fairly well. But then our smaller libraries where the library director also, cleans the bathroom and fixes the plumbing and shovels the sidewalk, they were struggling to keep up on that stuff. So we just told everybody, this is the way it's going to be. These are the steps and this is when it's going to happen. And this is not optional, is what we told them. So. Come to think of it, for a while, I did have one library that they wanted it to be 35 days. So they were manually going in and handling that at 35 days. And then when they changed directors, the director said, I don't want to do that crap. And she just decided to stop the manual process and stick with the system-wide process.
I need it to be able to like automatically charge if the item was checked out at the branch it's owned by, but not if the item was owned at another branch. And I don't think it could do that. I'm looking at the cron job, and the skip library thing is going off the cert control system preference. So right now we're all a big old mess, and we don't automatically charge, and people don't clean it up, so it's just a messy mess. A mess.
I don't suppose there'd be any reason why you couldn't ask Bywater schedule your cron more than one time per night and say, for these libraries do this schedule, for these libraries do this other schedule, for these patrons do this schedule. It could get pretty messy pretty quickly, but if they're willing to do multiple runs of the same script.
Yeah, with the skip library.
Yeah.
That's something to think about. I'm not sure we're ready, but
Is
I
it
would
worth
like
it?
to. Yeah. We just have a staff member who runs a report every morning while they're sitting at the children's desk waiting for people to come in. So
That's all fine and good until they retire.
no, we make everyone sit at the children's desk. So we have people who move all over the place and that's the desk that gets that job for the morning.
There are days when I'm very glad that I run a single library system, even though we have a lot of buildings, because we can these are the roles by fiat, top down. This is how it's going to be, folks. I don't have to worry about lots of variations on how people want to do things.
Yeah, whenever a consortium comes to a meeting and asks, what should we do before we get on? I'm like, make sure you're all on the same page for as much as you can, because it makes your life way easier.
When I worked at the Valnet Consortium in Idaho and I started there, we were using Voyager, and I went to my very first circulation meeting, and the discussion was, why don't we all have the same loan periods and the same the same overdue structure and the same late fee policies and the same long overdue policies? And everybody said, yes, that's great. I can agree to that so long as we follow the rules I have at my library right now. So long as we all do the same thing I'm already doing, that's not a problem. And 9 years later, when I left that job, we were having the exact same discussion at my very first circulation meeting and my very final circulation meeting. All of the issues that were discussed at the first meeting were also on the agenda at the last meeting. So nothing changed in 9 years.
This is why I have equipment 1, equipment 2, equipment 3, equipment 4, equipment 5.
All right. We've got about 10 minutes left. Anybody else have something pressing they want to talk to the group about?
It's not.
I have a,
pressing.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's not pressing, but I did want to share this link again because it was shared out and it was George who created it. And I'm just want to let everybody know how useful this link is, the sponsorship link, basically, where you see what other people are looking at in Bugzilla. I just wanted to share it again and just be like, I love this link and I find it very useful. Thank you, George.
I don't remember having anything to do with this. Are you sure it was me?
Oh,
posted it.
maybe you
It was
shared
me.
it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you shared it, and then I was like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing." George probably created this, and I was just
No.
like, "This is amazing."
It was actually Martin Renois at OpenFit that created it over in the Mattermost channel. There's a thread where
I'm gonna
basically documented everything. He ran into a couple
I need to reach
hiccups
out
with
to
it.
Martin
So
because he's amazing. I love this page. I have it up like maybe every day. It's great. Anybody else, please check it out. It's just to see what other libraries are looking at.
yeah, I do have an item, but I see Rebecca's question about Bugzilla status blocked meme, and that just usually means that until another bug gets resolved, this bug can't move forward. And they'll usually put the other bug, it'll say blocked by this bug. Real quick, I have some question. Sorry, did anyone else have anything before I bulldoze forward?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I am looking at bug 38650, and this has come up before because it's the one where any hold, if you have a hold on a bib and you check out another item in the meantime, like a not like that hold will be filled by that item, if that makes sense. And what we've kind of noticed is that it's not just our like Sizzler titles that end up filling the holds, it can be like anything. So even if the hold is already waiting on the hold shelf, is what we're surmising. So what this has ended up meaning is that we end up with stuff that sits on the hold shelf forever because once the hold is fulfilled by that other copy, it doesn't drop off. It doesn't show up on the holds cancellation list, but it's still sitting on our hold shelf. And I was wondering if anyone had encountered that, if there's any configuration I can do to get around that, and if I should just open up another bug.
We see that happen.
Okay.
And basically I have a report I called my orphan holds report. And then we also have Metabase, and it takes both of those things to figure out where that silly item is. First, we figure out that it's sitting on a hold shelf somewhere where it shouldn't be anymore. And then using Metabase, I can figure it from the biblio number. I can kind of I know which building it's in, and I have dates, and I can try to figure out, okay, what's the last name of the person it's on hold for, so they don't have to go through their hundreds of items on the hold shelf to track down something by title. I can share that.
I would love that. Thanks.
We dig that out.
Okay, so I'm not imagining things. This is actually a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if I have one of them sitting on here today or not. Let's see.
Do people here think it would be worth opening a Bugzilla on that? I can do that.
It would be nice if once a hold is canceled. I think isn't there a bug on, I can't remember the number, when a hold is canceled and hasn't actually been checked in yet, there's like a delayed status. And I think it was Christopher, George's partner in crime on the videos. I think he's got a bug on this exact issue. I remember seeing it a couple weeks ago. But basically any hold that gets canceled that isn't actually checked in goes onto the holds to canceled list, or much like the ones when the patron can cancel the holds themselves, and it goes on that holds to be canceled or cancellation requests lists. And so you can find them. Otherwise, they just become available. So it needs that intermediary, not really canceled, just a request to be canceled until it gets checked in or something like, I can't remember the details, but that's the general idea, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was all I had. I think I am gonna open up a book. So
You're gonna put that bug in, I might sign up for it because I believe we're experiencing it. I'm forgetting if we're still experiencing it. I don't see why not, if it's
okay.
something we reported before. But yeah, if you want to send that information out, that bug number out, I'll keep my eye on the Bugzilla, but if you send that out to me, that I'll sign up for it because yeah.
Will do.
Can you? I'm not following very well. Okay, so you're checking a different copy out to the patient, but they've got a copy waiting on the hold
Right.
shelf,
Mhm.
and it's
Right.
not filling the hold on the one on the hold shelf, or it's
It-
just hang.
It just cancels
So
it.
it just cancels it, but then it never shows up on the holds with cancellation requests or holds over 7 days report. It just
It
hangs
just
out
sits
on the
there.
hold
It
shelf
goes to
Okay.
until,
available.
yeah, but then our circ staff will be like, why did nobody tell me this hold was canceled? It's been on here for
And I
8
don't think
weeks.
it tells, I don't think it tells the staff who are doing the checkouts. I haven't tested that. So there's nobody know. I don't know what happens at the checkout process itself. If they find another copy on the shelf and bring it to the desk, check it
Yeah.
out. I don't know what kind of message the staff get at that point, even to let them know, hey, there's another copy waiting for this person or not.
Yeah. I have a hold on an item with a few copies that I'm going to test this throughout the next couple of weeks. But if I find out, well, when I find out what the pop-up says, if any, I'll share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this bug was coming into play, but that's different. That's like the affecting whether the hole gets taken off or not.
Yeah, I don't think the specific hold, the specific bug that I'm aware of isn't about this exact situation, but about canceled holds in general. Just it's like, hey, until it gets checked in again, so that either it goes into transit or goes back on the shelf, or someone has put their hands on this thing.
Mhm.
It needs to be in some status other than available because now you've lost it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I need to find that bug too. All right, thanks everyone. I didn't sound very grateful, but I am. Okay. Yeah.
I guess our workaround solution for that is we have them run the holds awaiting pickup report and like compare it to the hold shelves, but our hold shelves are a lot smaller. We have a lot less.
We
So
have
like if
hold
they find
rooms.
anything that's not supposed to be sitting there, they're supposed to pull it and clear it.
It's an entire room full of holds. It's a few thousand things. They're never going to find them.
Yeah, we just run through our hold shelf at the end of night and pull everything that has a date expired that day and then check everything in the next morning. And so if something sits there because of an issue like this, it's only for a few days usually.
I'm curious, what's everybody's hold duration? Like, I think we hold on to our stuff for 7 days. Like, yeah, 7 days is like the default. Okay, cool.
And we have our holds automatically canceled with the cron or whatever.
Oh God, no. We'd lose everything that way.
My gosh, Mary, whatever you're doing sounds like magic.
Yeah, but it leaves it on the shelf. It doesn't actually magically takes them off the hold shelf for you.
Right, right. But it does tell you that they don't have a status of waiting, right? Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, we have an inventory wand, I think from TechLogic that we
Okay.
could do this with if we wanted to,
It's
but we
also
don't need to.
Wow.
it's also very expensive. So we tell them to be very careful when using them.
We send our library page out with it if they don't have any books to shelf. And so then they can just run through like the fiction section and find anything with really weird off statuses and they bring them back up to the front for us.
They even do like the shelf reading with the wands. Like we've just told them, just have it look for everything, all the bad statuses, all the checked or checked out items, and if they're in order. So just make your job easier. We really like them. We do catch a couple of our staff whenever they figure out it's a wand, they go expecto patron. So we tell them don't do that. That's fun, but don't do that.
I only have one library that uses RFID, so this did not work for us. So.
Oh, it has to be RFID.
Yeah, our wand isn't as specific as yours, Charlie, must be, because like you run it through and it starts grabbing things from other shelves and stuff, so it's never in order really very well. It's too sensitive, I guess. I'm not sure. All right, so if you wouldn't mind, if you have the link to the agenda, if there was anything that we talked about in this that you want to make sure that we have a record of so we could know for the future, go ahead and add it back into the topics for discussion, just a link or anything. Otherwise, I think we're done for today, and we'll plan on hopefully seeing each other at some of the developer forum or bug squashing events in a few weeks. If you want to set up a dev box, come to the baby dev sig meeting this Thursday. And then we'll see you at this meeting again next month on March 10th.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.